We shall never surrender.
Good morning everyone, how you doing? It's Paul here from Unusual Things. Now this morning we are in St Martin's Churchyard, which is in a place called Bladon, or Bladon, B-L-A-D-O-N, however you pronounce it, I don't know. And of course today we've come here to see the grave of Winston Churchill. Now this is a beautiful, beautiful little churchyard. I don't know if you can quite see that there. A little church behind me, okay. As usual, I will try and get in there later on, like I said I'm going to do. Don't forget, if you like the video today, give it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe if you haven't done so already, if you're enjoying the channel. And hit that notification bell to be notified when there's more videos coming out. Now, I want to hear your comments today on Winston Churchill. Quite a controversial character in his younger days, obviously some of the things he done, but then in his latter years, you know, the goodness that he did for this country, and if it wasn't for him and people like him with his tenacity and spirit, fighting spirit that led us to victory, with some help of course by our allies, then who knows. I probably wouldn't be able to do this today, you probably wouldn't be able to be watching today. So like I say, it's one of those, you have to make your own mind up. But I'll give you some more information on Winston Churchill real soon. And of course, we will try and get into there. Who knows? So Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill, 30th of November 1874 to the 24th of January 1965. He was most of his career a member of the Conservative Party, which he led from 1940 to 1955. He was a member of the Liberal Party from 1904 to 1924. Of mixed English and American parentage, Churchill was born in Oxfordshire to a wealthy aristocratic family. He joined the British Army in 1895 and saw action in British India, the Anglo-Sudan War and the Second Boer War, gaining fame as a war correspondent and writing books about his campaigns. He was elected as a Conservative MP in 1900. In February 1901, Churchill took his seat in the House of Commons, where his maiden speech gained widespread press coverage. He associated with a group of Conservatives known as the Hooligans, but he was critical of the Conservative government on various issues, especially increases in army funding. He believed that additional military expenditure should go to the Navy. This upset the Conservative front bench, but was supported by Liberals, with whom he increasingly socialised, particularly liberal imperialists like H. Asquith. In this context, Churchill later wrote that he drifted steadily to the left of parliamentary politics. He privately considered the gradual creation of an evolutionary process of a democratic or progressive wing to the Conservative Party, or alternatively a central party to unite the Conservatives and the Liberals. In May 1904, Churchill opposed the government's proposed Aliens Bill designed to curb Jewish migration into Britain. He stated that the bill would appeal to insular prejudice against foreigners, to racial prejudice against Jews, and to labour prejudice against competition, and expressed himself in favour of the old tolerant and generous practice of free entry and asylum to which this country has so long adhered and from which it had greatly gained. On the 31st of May 1904, he crossed the floor, defecting from the Conservatives to sit as a member of the Liberal Party in the House of Commons. Churchill was a Liberal MP from 1904 to 1908. He was Home Secretary from 1910 to 1911, and in February 1910 Churchill was promoted to Home Secretary, giving him control over the police and prison services. He implemented a prison reform programme. Measures included a distinction between criminal and political prisoners, with prison rules for the latter being relaxed. On the 25th of November 1915, Churchill resigned from the government, although he remained an MP. Asquith rejected his request to be appointed Governor-General of British East Africa. Churchill decided to join the army and was attached to the 2nd Grenadier Guards on the Western Front. In January 1916, he was temporarily promoted to Lieutenant Colonel and given command of the 6th Royal Scots Fusiliers. For over 3 months, they faced continual shelling, although no German offensive. He became Chancellor on the 6th of November 1924. Churchill formally rejoined the Conservative Party.
After Hitler came to power on the 30th of January 1933, Churchill was quick to recognise the menace of such a regime and expressed alarm that the British government had reduced Air Force spending and warned that Germany would soon overtake Britain in Air Force production. Armed with official data provided clandestinely by two senior civil servants, Desmond Morton and Ralph Wigram, Churchill was able to speak with authority about what was happening in Germany, especially the development of the Luftwaffe. He told the people of his concerns in radio broadcasts in November 1934, having earlier denounced the intolerance and militarism of Nazism in the House of Commons in May 1937. Baldwin resigned and was succeeded as Prime Minister by Neville Chamberlain. At first, Churchill welcomed Chamberlain's appointment, but in February 1938, matters came to a head after Foreign Secretary Anthony Eden resigned over Chamberlain's appeasement of Mussolini, a policy which Chamberlain was extending towards Hitler. In 1938, Churchill warned the government against appeasement and called for collective action to deter German aggression. In May, Churchill was still generally unpopular with many Conservatives and probably most of the Labour Party. Chamberlain remained Conservative Party leader until October, when ill health forced his resignation. By that time, Churchill had won the doubters over and his succession as party leader was a formality. He began his premiership by forming a five-man war cabinet, including Chamberlain as Lord President of the Council in practice. These five were augmented by the service chiefs and ministers who attended the majority of the meetings. Despite losing the popular vote to Labour, the Conservatives won an overall majority of 17 seats in the October 1951 general election, and Churchill again became Prime Minister, remaining in office until his resignation on the 5th of April 1955. Churchill suffered his final stroke on the 12th of January 1965 and died 12 days later, on the 24th, the 17th anniversary of his father's death. Churchill was given a state funeral. Planning for this had begun in 1953 under the codename of Operation Hope Knot, and detailed plans had been produced by 1958. His coffin laid in state at Westminster Hall for 3 days, and the funeral ceremony was at St Paul's Cathedral on the 30th of January. Afterwards, the coffin was taken by boat along the River Thames to Waterloo Station, and from there by a special train to the family plot at St Martin's Church, Blaydon, near his birthplace at Blenheim Palace.
So there you have it, there's all the information there. Quite a controversial character, of course, but also helped us a lot. You know, if it wasn't for him, where would we be, you know? There you go. Anyway, I think I found it. Such a beautiful little churchyard here. To be honest, you could hardly miss this one. Because we've got the whole now Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill, 1874 to 1965. Clementine Ogilvy Spencer Churchill, 1885 to 1977. And really well maintained, beautiful area with obviously family members all around here. Winston Churchill, like I say, quite a controversial character in today's standards because of obviously his past, which people have gone into. But then we look on the flip side of that, you know, if it wasn't for this guy, would I be able to do this now? Would you be watching this now? Or would we be under a completely different regime, which I think we all know we would be, don't we? So there we have it. So I personally, I'm going to say thank you to Winston Churchill for what he did to help keep our freedoms. We must remember that, okay? And you know, yeah, maybe before all that, who knows. But if it wasn't for this guy, and you know, I know that he did a lot of ear bashing to the Americans to try and get them involved, which they didn't do for a long time until they got bombed, you know. But there you go, Winston Churchill there. Wow, what a grave. Look at it, it's beautiful. Such a beautiful, quiet location, and such a wonderful little plot as well. Anyway, I've seen the little churchyard. I don't know if we can get him. We will try. Okay, so the little churchyard here. And that says entrance around the side. I've got a feeling, I'm not sure. It says the church is open for visitors. That's what it says on the tin. That's what it says right there, look. So let's go and have a look. Let's go and see if we can visit with our camera today. Wow, look at all these old headstones. Wow. Let's have a look. Ah, it's locked. That's rubbish. Well, that's a bit rubbish. There's a sign there saying the church is open. The church ain't open. Anyway, from this beautiful little churchyard, St Martin's Churchyard, in Bladen or Bladen, or not sure how to pronounce that. Thank you as always for watching. Don't forget to please give it a thumbs up if you like it, comments, you know, usual stuff by now. And I will see you all on the next one. Take it easy.